Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I am your host, God of Heroics, and today is a good day because Sparking Zero is now fixed about 99%. But that's beside the point. Basically, today there is a huge patch that rolled out. And I was going to make this video yesterday, but a lot of nonsense happened. I was running errands today. But we may as well do it today because today is the day that the patch went live. So we're going to go over the patch notes for everything that is new in Sparking Zero, all the changes, all the patches, everything. So if you like these type of videos, please like the video, subscribe to the page, and hit that notification bell so you can be notified to all future uploads. I'm trying to hit 500 by the end of the year, so please help me out with that. I would greatly appreciate it. And without further ado, let's get started. First thing I want to mention is the V-Jump Aura, the V-shaped aura that you could get when charging, is now available. A lot of people were kind of bummed out that it was Japan only, but we always knew it was going to come to the rest of the world. We just had to be patient. So now it is currently available, and I do have good news and bad news depending on which side of the fence you were on. But if you waited and didn't go ahead and get it, then you can get it currently for $1 along with an item called Victory Power. But if you did buy it, unfortunately, you spent more money than you needed to. There were some people that bought a digital copy of the Japanese V-Jump magazine, so they were able to get a digital code for the Aura, and it was roughly like $4 and some change, close to $5, I think. But it is currently $1 in the PlayStation Store. It's 99 cents. So if you went ahead and got yours, unfortunately, you wasted a little bit of money just so you could get it slightly earlier. But if you went ahead and waited, you got the discount. So the item, what does it do? Victory power slightly increases blast attacks and your ultimate as far as your damage, and then it also gives you more cube recovery after doing a rush attack. I think this is very useful if you do fight with items. I might do some videos fighting with items with some friends and might make like the single battles last a little bit longer. Next tidbit of information, if you go to the character select screen, hover over your character, right on the right side you can see their abilities and their blast techniques. Now if you notice, I don't think this was there in the previous installment of this game, but you can see how many blast stocks or key stocks, sorry, it takes to utilize your abilities, and it also shows you how many bars of key you need to utilize Blast 1 and Blast 2. This is completely new, but I don't think it's anywhere in the patch notes. Last thing I want to mention before we actually get into looking at the patch notes is that the game is going to be getting an update. According to these leaks, I'm going to post in the description the video from Slow Plays that I got this from. But there is news that in a future update, they're going to categorize all the characters by character and then forms on a secondary list. If you played Budokai Tenkaichi 3, you know what I'm talking about. Your characters just show up like so, and then when you select the character, it opens up to a menu like this. So these are the leaked images that we're discussing right now, where you can see the way the characters are organized is no longer Goku, then Super Saiyan Goku, then Goku, and so forth, until you get to Vegeta, then Gohan, or whatever. It is just organized by character, and it looks like it's organized by arc as well. And then when you select that character, it opens up to a secondary menu like so, and you get to see all the forms that your character has, so you get to pick which of those forms that you want. It's easier than the way it is currently because it condenses the character roster a little bit more, so we don't have to fumble through 182 characters just so you can find the character that you want to select, especially with the limited time that we have to select our characters. Now, going into everything that this patch has to offer, Dragon Ball Games on Twitter posted a free update for Dragon Ball Sparking Zero drops on December 12th, which is the day that I'm recording this, which was yesterday from time of posting. All stages in local versus mode, team character presets, which is big. That's going to make things a lot easier. So not only do we get all stages on the couch co-op split screen, but then you also get to make preset teams, I assume for both team battle and DP battles, which is going to be even better because now you can make your little preset team and you don't have to, again, fumble through 182 characters just to find the character that you need. So it says battle adjustment, high speed, dragon dash, adjusted energy blast, recovery, and adjusted Z burst dash energy use. These are three big ones, but these aren't all that we're going to be looking at. So Here we are on the Bandai Namco information page, or the news page rather, and this is the list of patch notes or fixes rather that we're going to be looking at today. So we're going to just go through all the key ones. So the My Set function has been added to team battles, or for added for team members, which is the preset we're talking about. That's what it's going to be called, My Sets. So for ranked matches and player matches, says you can now skip the intro animation, and it requires both players to input the skip command. This is big, especially for characters that have really long intros, like Zamasu, sometimes Cell, and I think Team Gohan has one. But yeah, this is big, especially if you're doing rematches and you've already seen your characters do their intro. There's no point in watching it again. Player match. You can now set your team to hidden or revealed to your opponent when editing your team. So you can basically make so your opponents can see who you're playing before the match starts, or you can make it a surprise, which is going to make things a little bit more fun when playing with your friends. So, custom battle mode. Text can now be sorted alphabetically. This is phenomenal for us that actually create stories, because it's really hard to keep up with where everything is and what it falls after, especially since it doesn't really seem to be organized that well. So I'm glad that that is a thing now. Options. You can now set the battle camera distance to be closer. Personally, I wouldn't change the way it is for the characters that I play, but if I were to play giants, I would want it to be farther actually, because it's pretty hard to see your opponents if they're playing a smaller character and you're a giant. There's a new mechanic added called High Speed Dragon Dash, and it's just basically if you hold R2 and X, or roll your charge button and X, because that's uh, standard controls. If I use classic controls, so it's L2 and X, and translate it to your Xbox or whatever controller you use. Basically, um, if you hold the button down instead of just press it, you do a faster dragon dash, and it actually consumes less ki to reach your opponent, and it's based on the distance that you travel. So, smash attacks. You will no longer be stunned by being hit by a rush ki blast when charging a smash attack. And when charging a smash attack and during a rush attack, charge time reduction based on hit count has been increased, which is a decent change. I mean, I never saw this as a real issue, but hey, it is what it is. Rush Key Blast, what everybody has been wanting to see the change for. The time between being able to fire the next key rush blast after firing the maximum consecutive amount at once has been increased. So basically, no more key blast spam. I mean, even in sparking mode, that time between your consecutive blast is increased. I mean, it's faster than when you're not in sparking mode, but regardless, that timer has been increased. And now, you can now move when deflecting key blast or rush key blast. So when they're key blast spamming, instead of being locked in animation and being able to get hit with an unblockable, you can actually start moving while you're deflecting those. So that is a wonderful change. Step. You can now no longer be able to be hit by certain attacks immediately after performing a step. There's some minor issue that I had, mostly because sometimes I would do a step, or I would do a step evasion, and I would still get hit by certain moves. And I'm like, well, what's the point of using the step and step evasion this way if it's not really going to change anything? Rush key blasts and smash attacks can now also be evaded. Yeah, this is basically what I meant. Like I would step, or I would step and evade, and as a key rush key blast or a smash key blast, sometimes even just like rush chains would still hit me. And I originally thought maybe my timing was off, but no. Like the more and more I kept doing it, the more and more I kept getting hit, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe this just doesn't work. Z burst dash, the amount of key consumed when activating it has been increased. So using a Z burst dash, we use 1 bar of key. Now it uses 2. Moving forward, burst smash. It says key will no longer be consumed when activating it, and will instead consume an amount based on the distance traveled, which I really love. Instead of just being like, oh, use this bar, or use half a bar, or whatever, it is now based on the distance you travel rather than being just a set amount. Blast. Damage has been increased when using a boost. So if I use like Super Command Mega or something, and then I hit L2 to boost, or whatever your button for boosting is, it does more damage. The amount of damage that it's increased, that the amount of damage that it does is increased from what it was before. Also, with searching, it says that basically you don't lose track of your enemies when characters are swapped, which I never had an issue with. Um, I think they mean like when you defeat your opponent and then the new character comes in. That's what they mean. I'm pretty sure they don't mean just genuinely switching in the middle of the match. But yeah, when you defeat your opponent and then the next character shows up at whatever spawn point they are, you're automatically locked onto them. You don't unlock from your opponent just because there's a new character out. Also, as far as searching, you now regain sight of your opponent if they're within your line of sight. So I had this issue a lot where somebody would use like instant transmission, or I'll block an ultimate, and their character, like I turn around from the instant transmission or from the ultimate, I block it, and they're still right in front of me. And for some reason, my character is still locked off. Even if I throw a key blast and it hits them, or I throw a punch and it hits them, my character is still locked off. So I'm glad that that's been fixed. So now we basically snap right back to focusing on the enemy. If they are within our line of sight, it's no longer, oh, you got to look at them for like 3 seconds or anything. So Z counter, the input window has been shortened. Z counter will no longer, Z counter will become more difficult to perform if performed consecutively, which is everything that we've been asking for. Key consumed has been increased successful for successfully performing a Z counter, and skill count increased speed has been reduced when successfully performing a Z counter. This is everything that us Vanish War haters have been asking for. So the more basically, it's harder to do a Vanish now, and then on top of that, it you get less skill count when performing one perfectly, and you also use more key when performing a vanish as well. And the more vanishes you do, the harder it is to do the next one. Wonderful. Revenge counter, the skill count has been reduced from 2 to 1. Rush attacks during sparking mode, gradual damage reduction of consecutive attacks has been increased, so you do less damage the more attacks or consecutive attacks that you do when you're basically doing those like infinite rush chains. So the amount of damage drop off has been increased, and combos. The final attack of aerial combos and aerial slash combos will no longer be interrupted by guards. So I think this means that when you like do when you basically do a ground slash or aerial slash, and you jump up there and like start beating them up, I think that means that like they won't be able to just randomly just block out of nowhere. Character switch. Health and cover rate on standby characters has been reduced. It was a little bit ridiculous before, I'm not gonna lie. Like, you would have your character out of battle for like a minute or two, and they would have like a whole bar and a half just recovered. I'm like, dude, come on, what the hell? Z-Burst Dash for giant characters. The tackle done by giant characters during Z-Burst dashes is now guardable. Thank fucking God. You cannot convince me that this was not a necessary change. I have fought many players that have just picked Dr. Wheelo so they can do an instant spark and then just spam their fucking tackle, and there was nothing I could do about it. Like, yeah, I could use perception, but for some reason, the speed at which they could do that was just, for some reason, making it hard or damn near impossible for me to perception through, and that was freaking annoying. So anyway, we're on to skill adjustments. Skills that cause instant spark mode. Basically, the skill count consumption has been increased. So there's like, I know for a fact when I was playing Videl earlier, super unyielding spirit, which goes, it's her instant spark. It went from 3 to 4. I haven't checked Bardock. I'm not sure if his is 5, because his used to be 4. His might be 5 now. But yeah, basically, instant spark techniques cost more. Skills that increase stats in general. The skill count need to be consumed is lowered. As you see right here, my Gogeta finish sign now costs 2 instead of 3 to do, and I think this is a fair send off, a fair trade, because like you are increasing your stats, but it's not permanent. You're just increasing it for just a little bit, just to gain the edge if you're doing combos and whatnot. And I think needing only 2 skill counts just to increase like my damage and stuff for just like a little bit, it shouldn't cost 3. That's a little too long to wait to use that. After image strike, effect duration has been reduced to 10 seconds and will be removed if your opponents use perception when you are under the effects. That is huge. So basically, instead of after a strike being 15 seconds and basically making you invincible unless your opponent grabs, Now it is only reduced to 10 seconds, and your opponents can cancel after a misstrike if they use perception on your attacks. So now you can't just use after a misstrike and then start spamming attacks. You have to actually like still acquire or utilize some kind of skill to be able to play your character. So this is big, and it also lets me know that perception now actually works on after a misstrike because I've been upset using perception to try to stop moves, and then they just vanish behind me because it's after a misstrike. False courage count has been increased from 1 to 2. I'm okay with this. One, because of Android 19 spammers, and also because it recently just said that, they increased skills from, or decreased skills from like 3 to 2. So I think evening out all the buffs like that makes more sense. It says technique, all I need is 5 seconds. This is regarding Super Saiyan 4 Goku. It says skill count consumed has been increased from, well, I think they mean decreased, but decreased from 3 to 2. And the status increase upon activation has been increased. I thank them for this. I mean, I don't play Super Saiyan 4 Goku a lot, but the times I have played him, um, I don't like using I'll do this in 5 seconds unless I'm like in a position where I'm about to do my ultimate or something. But even then, the damage increase isn't really that crazy, so I'm glad that they really fixed that. It made the move a little bit more usable. So, Stardust Barrier. This is for Super Gogeta. It says you can now activate it when receiving melee attacks from the front. Um, so basically, it can work as an explosive wave, except you can only do it from the front, not when they're attacking you from behind. Blast adjustments, long range blast and ultimate techniques. Speed has been reduced. I'm glad because a lot of moves, especially the unblockable ultimates, would just be wickedly fast and it's almost impossible to react to them. So I'm glad that that's been adjusted. Super Vegeta Final Kamehameha key consumed and damage has been increased. Uh, Interesting. I think it's a 4 key blast attack now because it used to be 3, but now it's 4, and I'm glad that the damage for it has been increased as well. I mean, if you're going to increase the amount of key needed to use it, definitely increase the damage that it does. Goku Mini Quick Rush, which is his Blast 1. Trajectory can now be changed while rushing. I remember Tackle or Takedown, I think it's called. Take This, when he, his Blast 2, when he swings the stick. That one is, well, not used to, it still is. You can change the trajectory of it, but Quick Rush was just a straight move, and that would cause a lot of whiffs, especially if you're using it in combos where you knock your opponents down, or even if the angle you attack them upwards is a little off. But I'm glad that's good now. Mr. Satan, President Bomb, increased end lag after activation. I'm not sure why, but to be fair, I don't really care. I don't play Mr. Satan, and I don't really see anyone play him unless they're just filling up a slot on like DP battle. Character adjustments, very much needed. Android 19 and Dr. Giro, health and key amount absorbed on successful throw has been adjusted. Dragon Dash, Quick Ascend, and Quick Descent now consume key. This is mostly referring, well, the first part is referring to pretty much any battle ever. People that just spam 19 and Giro, especially 19 since they just use false courage and jump behind you and try to grab and spam. Now they're not getting as much of a reward out of that, especially now that false courage costs 2 instead of 1. And the second part is obviously regarding the nonsense that happened at that tournament. Those 2 players did get disqualified, by the way, for basically not playing the game and just spamming their quick dash up and quick dash down and dashes and shits because, according to lore in Dragon Ball Z, they have some kind of like anti gravity device in their body, so they don't utilize ki to fly. But yeah, no, we're nipping that in the bud so people can't just spam that to time out people anymore. Um, Cell's second form, you can now escape his throw. I don't know why second form Cell had an unblockable throw, or untechable throw rather. That made no sense to me, but good to see that it can be escaped out of. I haven't dealt with too many second form cells, so it's not really an issue. In fact, if anything, I used second form cell on my self destruct team, so not being able to have an unblockable throw is a little bit crippling for him, especially since he has very low utility from what I've seen and used. But it is what it is. Everybody's different, but it's not like I really prefer the character, so it's not a big deal. Cooler. Amount of health restored upon transformation has been increased. I play Cooler. I love playing Cooler, but I'm gonna be honest, I did not notice that he had a health increase when he transformed. But hey, if I get more health out of transforming now, I'm cool with it. Not gonna complain. Giant characters increase the time it takes to charge a smash attack and reduced its power. I don't think this is a necessary change, but yeah, sure, whatever. Do whatever. Granny Vegeta and Dr. Wheelo, maximum health has been reduced. That's alright. That's cool. And then it says other, we have improved performance and ease of use. Not really certain what that means. That's vague as hell. So anyway, that's pretty much everything. That's all the patch notes that they placed on their website, everything that's been implemented into yesterday's patch of the game. Again, I'm sorry for putting this video out a day late. There was a lot of stuff going on for the past couple of days, so I just put up Marvel Rivals gameplay videos just because they were already recorded. I didn't get to put any audio to the Moon Knight one, unfortunately, but I just put them out just so I can have something so that I am posting daily like I want to. But now that all the stuff that I went through is pretty much done, I'm back to recording and posting as normal. Also, the patch notes did not include anything about super counters. I'm they probably just don't know what to do with them yet. I know for Vanishing, they pretty much listened to the fan base and gave us everything that we asked for to make the game, more fun. And it's more for quality of life. It's not necessarily like, oh, we want this nerfed. It's just that we wanted those changes so that the game, then the fighting in the game is more fighting. It's not just who can vanish the best. But not sure what they're going to do about super counters. Not sure if they can do anything about super counters or if they will. Also, another thing that I want to mention real quick before I end this video, there was a thing that people were complaining about on Twitter where Super Gogeta, not Super Gogeta, Z Gogeta from the movie, where they like put this highlight on him to lighten his skin. A lot of people were saying, "Oh, well, now you're making him lighter or whatever, whatever." That's a complaint. As you've seen in this gameplay, it's not just him. It's pretty much everybody, especially if they're in Super Saiyan. I'm not sure what causes it. Maybe it's like if you're doing something where the character would be like flexing their aura, like if you're charging, if you're in sparking mode, if you just transform to Super Saiyan, if you're doing perception or something, there's like a little glow of aura on your character, and can be turned on. It will not turn on and off, but it goes on and off depending on what you're doing. So it's not just him; it's pretty much everybody, and I think it's more so an artistic choice where you can tell like how active your character is being. Like right now, Trunks is looking dull, but then once I start charging, there's that highlight on him. So I'm pretty sure it's just a stylistic effect, and it's nothing to complain about. It's not like they're trying to lighten characters so that they're super white or anything. It's just a stylistic choice. Anyway, that's gonna do it for the video. Please like to subscribe to the page, hit that notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.